FIFA is obviously the next best thing to being on the pitch.
How it is in real life, that's just how it is on the game.
It's already the world's best interactive football game. Now the greatest minds in video gaming are heading for world football domination.
We need to make some pretty revolutionary changes.
400 experts, groundbreaking new features, and a revolutionary engineering hat-trick that blurs the line between virtual and reality.
You know, I think that's going to blow people's minds a bit.
And they'll finish it in just 12 months.
We have a very tight deadline.
Enter the EA Sports Mega Factory in Burnaby, Canada, where this world-class team is changing the world's favourite game. It's big.
FIFA 11 has had 300 million games played.
It's powerful.
FIFA in its lifetime has generated over like $3 billion.
But EA Sports FIFA 11 is about to lose its championship title. Nearly 2 decades of world-class interactive football is undergoing the biggest transformation in its history.
So we're talking about this revolution this year of innovations, something that I would never have dreamt of saying out loud in the past, just purely because the scale and the scope and the significance of the change we're making is enormous this year.
This isn't just a makeover, it's a gameplay revolution in the shape of FIFA 12. The challenge?
To make a game that doesn't tell you how to play it, but that rather just sets up this vessel that you can just take and play whichever way you want to play.
To take it to kind of the next level of where we wanted to get to, we really had to take some fairly dramatic steps. 3 big ones for us, and we've been calling them this trinity of innovations.
First up, an entirely new collision system called the Player Impact Engine. This state-of-the-art development uses real-world physics to seamlessly replicate player contact.
The Player Impact Engine is one of the bigger features that we've got in the game this year. And what it is the way that the players interact with one another when they come together.
Next, perfecting the art of dribbling. Used in attack, dribbling helps players keep close control of the ball, leaving little opportunity for defenders to step in and take possession.
We have a dribbling system we've always had. This is just like an extra level of sophistication and control that we're calling precision dribbling. Precision because the touches that you take on the ball are just more precise and more responsive than the usual dribbling that we've had in previous FIFAs.
And while precision dribbling perfects attack, something has to equalize defense. The third of the trinity.
Tactical defending, which is this kind of yin and yang in the game that completely rebalances and makes FIFA play very, very differently in a much more authentic way.
The result? Turning the beautiful game into the perfect gaming experience. And it happens here, in Burnaby, Canada, at the EA Sports Mega Factory, one of the largest and most successful studios in the history of computer gaming. It takes a world-class lineup to kick this ambition into goal. Over 400 experts, including software engineers, animators, modelers, audio pros, and game producers.
We have imported people from 18 different countries on planet Earth to come and work here because they were the best in the business.
Heading this lineup are 3 of the world's top video game producers. Santiago Jaramillo, Aaron McCarty, and David Rutter.
They're sort of treated a little bit like rock stars.
And keeping these celebrity players in line, the man at the top, Matt Bilby.
Part of the benefit of going through the process of releasing the best games in the world is that we've got very good and we've got the best people in the best disciplines and the right processes to ensure that those, oh my God, we forgot to put the ball in the game, doesn't happen. And we did actually have a year where we forgot to put the ball in the game, but that was a long time ago.
Together, these brilliant minds create their magic in just 12 months.
Many people that if you go and speak to in this industry have a long time, many years, some of them, to make the game that they make, but we have a very tight deadline. That keeps you on your toes, it keeps you very busy, stops you getting bored.
It's one of the things that keeps us up at night, I guess.
Football is the most popular sport in the world, played by millions and supported by billions more. For many of these die-hard devotees, this isn't just a game. It's an obsession.
Football is often described as a religion around the world, and I can agree it's as close to that as anything.
And when the real game's over, there's only one place to go: EA FIFA.
Straight after we played Manchester City and I scored the bicycle kick, I went online, I played against Julian Lescott.
Wayne showed me, obviously, how to play FIFA, but since then, as they say, the student has become the teacher. I beat him 6-0.
I beat him quite comfortably, so it was a great day on the pitch and both on the computer as well.
Aaron Lennon and John Terry, so they're all my witness to see that I did beat Wayne Rooney on FIFA.
And it's not just the pros getting in the game.
Our game is allowing people to relive their football dreams, engage with their teams.
What you, for example, see is that after a match went out the wrong way, if your team lost, that people actually come together, they replay the match on their EA FIFA game to change the outcome.
Quando o Flamengo perdeu pro Ceará na Copa do Brasil, eu fui direto pro FIFA para ganhar aquele jogo. Eu sou flamenguista de coração.
In its simplest form, the real game of football is a game of two halves, two teams, and two basic principles: attack and defense. But add the human element, and football becomes a skillful clash of tactics, interaction, and reaction, with an endless array of variables and outcomes.
If your momentum is in this direction, the ball's going to get away with you, right?
As a pro footballer himself, Aaron is in the perfect position to take this play from the pitch to the screen.
The ball stays underneath your feet. If you take the ball with your center back here and you want to dribble all of the opposition with one guy, a footballer wouldn't do this because, one, he's leaving a big hole here with his center back, and now if they dispossess me, they're back the other way. Whereas a footballer would say, no, I've got my center back, he's not really supposed to be dribbling up the pitch, I'm going to make a pass, and I'm going to swing the ball around and wait for that correct opportunity. I'm going to get the ball to the players on my team who have strengths. Fortunately, I'm using Barcelona, so they all have strengths.
Previous versions of this game didn't quite make this tactical grade.
So what we've got here is FIFA 11, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what it is we exactly wanted to change in this game, in this year's game. So I'm just going to kick the ball to the opposition here, and the first thing you'll notice is all I have to do to defend is switch and hold down the A button. And in doing that, my player automatically runs at the ball and launches a tackle. That's not a very exciting thing to be doing for half the time you're playing the game. You're sitting there waiting until you get the ball back.
FIFA 12's new trinity of gameplay innovations drastically changes this behavior. But to work, these big ideas must translate from the pitch into computer speak. This starts with software engineer Dominic Bouchard.
So basically, what happens when you use your controller, push a button, and then how that translates to the actual actions on the field.
It's a complex maze of lightning-fast computer wizardry.
We have to do all of these decisions within 3 milliseconds, so like it's running a lot of times a frame.
Dominic's first job: translating player physics. Key to winning a football match: keep possession of the ball. This naturally forces players into close contact. FIFA 11 finds this hard to handle.
In the previous iteration of the game, that arm actually probably would have went right through that player's chest because there was no ability for us to deform the animation rig that we had.
The solution calls for the first of the team's trinity: the player impact engine.
What the player impact engine is a new way of doing this that calculates all of the forces on every single part of the body, on every single frame, and it allows us to process this stuff in real time. So the way you see his arm flex and bend around the shoulder as he's trying to jump out of the way of them is something that we're doing in real time, and we're procedurally altering those animations as the two players collide based on the laws of physics.
In other words, it's as close to real life as technologically possible, both in terms of what you see and how you play. But this isn't as simple as Physics 101.
It wasn't a very easy challenge. Nobody ever done it, and we always want to be ahead of the curve.
And that's exactly where they are. The groundbreaking player impact engine in FIFA 12 is a world's first. The result of 2 years' development and the single biggest investment in the EA FIFA franchise to date.
Okay, so we're going to be moving this way.
And it's Aaron's job to turn this ambition into reality.
It's just a huge undertaking for us to actually be able to create this and put it into the game and have it work on its own. Something that we've been working on for a couple of years, actually.
But creating this gameplay isn't as simple as plugging in a new feature. It's a constant cycle of concept, design and refinement. And putting this theory into practice takes real-world information. That starts here at EA's motion capture studio, called mocap.
We can get athletes in here to capture the animations that at the end of the day is everything that's visual that you see in the game.
And there's somebody there, you might keep it here, right? But when you've just
Today's players, Davide Cumiento and Camilo Sanvezzo, are from local Major League team Vancouver Whitecaps.
Well, the team now is almost 40 years old. We were founded in 1974, and we've just this season gone back into Major League Soccer for the first time.
On the pitch, these two are masters with the ball.
Rolling on 2.
But bringing these skills to a capture studio is a very different experience. So the mocap team replicates a football environment. Computer graphics supervisor Ryan Heitman referees today's play.
The turf really gives us that realistic floor contact with the feet. So if I'm running on grass, my impact's going to be very different from if I'm running on styrofoam or concrete or even plywood for that matter.
Perfect, perfect.
That just gives you that realistic feeling, not just from the feet, but it translates up into the rest of the body as well.
But there's one exception to this reality: their gear. This is not their usual kit.
É muito diferente para jogarmos, jogamos normal com short, camiseta.
These skin-tight costumes serve a purpose. They allow Ryan to attach reflective markers at key points.
We kind of have a standard number that we put on the talent.
How many markers do we have? 60. 60?
And those markers are positioned in key areas to get joint rotations.
The markers are detected by cameras surrounding the pitch, but they don't snap your average picture.
Basically, the red light bounces off of the reflective marker, and the cameras eliminate everything else but the red light, so that each camera is only seeing the marker rather than the background and environment.
It's like a 3D X-ray.
We've got 118 motion capture cameras, and those basically capture the talent's realistic motion, and then we push that data through, connect all the dots, and put it on a skeleton that then drives the character in the game.
Once the players are suited and booted,
I want you to put real pressure on me. as if it's a game.
Ryan hands over to Santiago and Aaron.
And once we've done 4 or 5 seconds, Santi's going to say go, and then what we want you to do is turn, face him up, do a move, and fire as hard as you can.
It's time to put some play in the game.
4 or 5 seconds.
The actions you see on the screen are fed by attributes and assets. It's a database of information on players and their skills. The producers capture this information according to the gameplay. But it's not a one-take-fits-all scenario.
You think too many fast touches?
The player impact engine needs lots of close contact. But for the second of the team's trinity, precision dribbling, Santiago and Aaron need to capture a different set of skills.
If we're talking about precision dribbling, this movement of the ball closely, that could be interpreted 100 different ways, whether a person knows football or not. It could be, as we saw when we were doing it earlier, Davide was taking very quick touches, which is great, and footballers do that. But for what we had envisioned for the feature, it's not exactly what we needed.
Dribbling is a strategy often used by the attacking team to keep possession of the ball. A skillful human tactic that's almost impossible to recreate perfectly in the virtual arena. It exists in FIFA 11, but its scope is limited. Santiago stepped up to the challenge.
What I wanted to do this year was create a system that would allow you to have very responsive dribbling and keep possession in those situations and really open up those areas of the field to enjoy the game even more. So with our engineers, we worked in that feature with new animations and a new responsiveness in the controls.
The new dribbling feature enhances this skill, adding precise ball control in tight situations. And even while fighting off an opponent. Taking this complex skill to the game is no easy task. To make sure they have every angle covered, Santiago and Aaron translate every real move into a virtual replay.
Elastico, yes!
For the game mechanic that we have, it's difficult that we have too many quick touches like that, just because we're trying to replicate it on the left.
And for us to be able to communicate that to one of our animators, just using text or speaking to them one-to-one, it's not always enough for us to sit there and speak with them to get the full message across. So it's important we're still involved all the way through to make sure that vision is passed down to everybody who's going to touch the game for the year. Maybe take it laterally, yeah. Move sideways. Oh!
Authenticity matters. These producers have an expert fan base to please. Over 5 million games of EA FIFA are played across the internet every single day. And the experience just got a whole lot better.
The most exciting part in FIFA 12 is definitely the introduction of the EA.Sports Football Club. It's a new live service that we're introducing into the game.
It's like football Facebook, where players not only compete with online opponents, but they interact with their teams, keep track of their lineup and gameplay, and measure their play progression. And the team at EA also feed real football scenarios into the online arena, challenging gamers to replicate the skills or try to change the outcome of a match.
We joke that we could probably supply Alex Ferguson a report every Friday to say the 500 million games of Man United versus Chelsea that were played this week online. The most successful lineup against Chelsea was this lineup.
And in the unlikely event that all your friends go offline, you have another opponent, the game itself.
So when you're playing just by yourself at home offline, say for example when you're playing career mode, then you're constantly playing against a CPU opponent.
The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is a form of artificial intelligence that allows the game to become both your teammates and your opponents.
When you're playing the game, most of the time you're controlling just one player with a pad. Every other player is being controlled by the AI.
It's driven by yet another FIFA 12 innovation called Pro Player Intelligence.
And with Pro Player Intelligence is that level of decision making that we really didn't have before. All the football stars that excel in specific areas of the game, whether it's vision or shooting, or for example Peter Crouch, someone that's really good at just winning headers because of his height, then that comes into play with the decision making of the teammates and the player himself, so that it's much more authentic.
Back in mocap, Santiago and Aaron are not the only ones getting in on the action. On the other side of the pitch, another EA producer is paying close attention to Davide and Camilo's game. Gary Patterson heads a spin-off of EA FIFA called FIFA Street. This year, his game is going through a rebirth of its own.
The first challenge for us was defining what street football was. We sent a research company to Rio, to Amsterdam and to London to research into street football, and they came back with 3 different versions of what they considered to be street football. They described it in Rio as almost more about dancing, you know, they're like moving like this, they're hardly touching the ball, they're dancing. In London, it's more about physical and pushing people into the wall, and in Amsterdam, it's more about the ball. It's more about moving the ball and doing skill moves with the ball.
Street football has evolved from a neighborhood kick-around to a global phenomenon. Davide and Camilo are the perfect avatars for this unique style of play.
Those are really skillful players from the Whitecaps there. And street football is more about the one-on-one. It's almost more about showboating than it is about scoring.
Nice, yes.
Just like its big brother, FIFA Street prides itself on realism. But in this game, it's not just celebrity players that rule. The environment counts.
I'll qualify from Scotland, I'll play in the UK, and then these are kind of generic environments as well, but we'll make them look like the UK. And then once you've qualified from the UK, you're into Europe. Now we can be more specific. Paris, Venice, Barcelona, London. You're trying to become the best street football team in the world, and you're playing in world cities, Amsterdam, Dubai, Tokyo. This is Rio, the final tournament. I don't think any other game we've built has made this many environments.
Back in mocap, the players have another appointment.
Oh, he looks better in the game.
To become a true virtual superstar, Vancouver Whitecap players Davide and Camilo don't just have to play the part, they also need to look the part.
This is our head scanning setup. We've got 18 standard consumer digital SLR cameras. So we take just regular pictures of the talent. That gets reconstructed into 3D data.
And if players can't get to the game goes to them.
We're at the Chelsea Football Club training grounds, and we're actually doing head scanning of their various team members on the team. As you can see, we have a photo dome here. We have 8 cameras set up at different angles. We're going to take 4 shots. We're going to take a frontal, a left profile, a right profile, and a top of the head. And essentially what we're going to do with those photos is throw that throw that data back to the guys in Vancouver, in which they're going to assemble a 3D model of the players' heads.
A job for character modeler Yoonjun Chai. But it's not a simple photocopy. Every feature is precisely replicated.
Considering the eyes are actually the key of the likeness, we really focus on the eyes as well. The eye shape and then, depth of the eyes too.
It's highly sophisticated computer cloning, and some details are harder than others.
Hair is really, challenging part on this process, because by the nature of the hair is, a group of lots of follicles, and the hair is really hard to create in the 3D space.
One player added his own twist to Yoonjun's job.
When I was growing up, I used to edit myself into the game, and it's crazy now. I'm always playing with my character, and it's great, and it obviously saves me a bit of time.
But after his motion capture, Manchester United star Wayne Rooney changed his look, sending Yoonjun back to the drawing board.
He recently had cosmetic surgery on his hair. He had a hair follicle implant. So we have to redo his hair this year.
Becoming a FIFA avatar is like scoring a World Cup goal. But with thousands of players in the world, there's a very long waiting list. For those that do make it, the result is mind-blowing.
Everyone looks like it's real life. I mean, my own player on it is crazy. I mean, it looks just like me, so it's amazing, really.
Primeira vez que eu vi foi legal e ao mesmo tempo estranho, porque eu via outros jogadores, eu tinha outras referências, como, sei lá, o Ronaldo, o Roberto Carlos, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, via esses jogadores e depois eu tô ali também, mas é muito legal você ver que crianças hoje jogam com você, até mesmo eu, algumas vezes que estou jogando, jogo com o meu personagem, com o meu boneco e isso é uma coisa bem legal.
The only thing better than being in the game is being on the game. Choosing the faces for the FIFA cover is a job for Jamie McKinley.
We have the top tier talent throughout the world, you know, the Wayne Rooneys of the world and the Kakars. And then we have a lot of younger talent that are coming up through the ranks that, you know, to get on the face of FIFA is as good as making the first team.
That's because EA FIFA is football. This title boasts the biggest sports video game launch in history.
When we launched the game last year, we sold 2.5 million copies of the game in the first 5 days after the game launched, which is unprecedented.
To date, EA Sports FIFA 11 has sold over 15 million copies. It's a tough record for FIFA 12 to beat, but EA FIFA hasn't always been at the top of the Championship League.
Well, we've been making the FIFA franchise since 1993. Actually, we released the first FIFA International Soccer on the Sega Genesis or Sega Mega Drive in Europe.
Back then, this little football game stood unchallenged. By 2002, EA FIFA boasted a 71% market share. But as the gaming industry leapt forward, so did the competition.
When we came to PlayStation 2, we had a competitor in Konami in their Pro Evolution Soccer franchise that it really started the battle between our two franchises or our two businesses to compete on quality.
The game was on.
So we want to do amazingly cool stuff, take the technology further, and also, you know, we're in a bit of a market share battle with a competitor, so we really want to beat them at our own game.
We joke that you can't win a league if there's no one to beat.
But the path to league domination was paved with challenge. In 2007, EA's share had fallen to 49%.
We're in a losing position. About 5 years ago, on the PlayStation 2 platform, we had been market leaders. I guess we rested on our laurels. We didn't innovate.
They changed their tactics. Instead of competing on existing markets, EA Sports looked to the future.
So we spent a couple of years investing in kind of like deep architecture engineering code that would put a stable foundation that would allow us to innovate on.
The investment paid off. Today, this game boasts a 70% market share with lifetime revenue exceeding $3 billion. And the philosophy of quality and innovation remains a mantra for this team.
So much goes into the game every year, you know, proud to be a part of it.
Back in modelling, it's time to put some emotion on the pitch.
So when we take the frontal shot, we have the players that have a neutral pose. In other words, they have no facial expression. Those photos are going to be thrown on what they call a rig. It's like almost like a facial skeleton, if you will. And the animators back in Vancouver can animate any facial expression they basically would like to. So if the player is yelling or grunting, they'll actually look like that player really doing it. Those are the things that we're able to do in the game now that we weren't able to do less than a year ago.
When usually they play on the field, they have lots of expressions. So let's say, you know, this is when he's really, really neutral, but when he's playing on the field, he's a little bit more intense, right? And then when he's running really hard for the dribbling, then maybe he's a little bit more intense.
By the time Yoon Jun has finished his magic, it's hard to believe. This is an avatar. But great football doesn't rest on looks alone. These avatars must play to the max. Remember those 3D X-rays from motion capture? They end up here with lead animator Gareth Eves.
In 3D space, you can see where all the markers are, all the foil balls that are attached to their suit. You can see where those foil balls are. So every one of those foil balls needs to get mapped essentially to one of your joints. So it might be your wrist or your elbow or your shoulder.
And action.
Gareth uses this mapping to create animated sequences.
Maybe I want him to slide around on the ground a little further. So you can see how far he slides now, just not too far. Imagine he's on a wet pitch, he might slide a lot further. And now you'll see I've taken that same animation, just added a little extra slide.
Every movement perfectly matches the real player. But you can't please everyone.
Ah, dans FIFA, mon personnage, franchement, il est super bien fait. Bon, après, c'est vrai que je manque un peu de puissance pour me rajouter un peu de power.
We had Joe Cole here a few weeks ago, and he was like, why aren't I as fast as I should be? You know, I'm faster than Suarez or whoever the other player who was talking about is. You know, so we probably get more passion email about those type of things from the players than we do actually the fans, wanting to know why they aren't faster or quicker or have more accuracy with their kicks.
Not every player has a personal X-ray.
It's a lot of animations. The game's really deep, and it takes a small army of animators just to stay on top of it all.
X-ray or not, the animators must still make sure every player's techniques are accurately replicated. To achieve this near impossible task, another small army sets to the streets.
We have experts all over the world watching a team play every single match day of their season, paying close attention to specific players. And then those experts give us the values of the attributes. So their speed, their acceleration, their heading ability, their shooting and their passing, and all these different things.
Like Gareth, animator Kancho Doskov turns this intelligence into on-screen action.
So here I have a motion capture clip of a guy doing a bicycle kick, as you can see, and I'm just making sure that everything looks good, that he's landing properly, that his hands aren't going through his body.
Whatever the skill, if a player can do it, the game can probably do it better.
We have a lot of specific moves that we do for particular players. So for example, for Ronaldo, he has a specific dribble cycle. Messi also has a specific dribble cycle.
Once finished, these animations become attributes in the game's database. 9 months into their deadline, and the player impact engine and precision dribbling are almost complete. The game is now deeper, faster and more realistic, and the attacking play is more precise than it's ever been. So, it's only decent to give the defending team a fair chance. That calls for the last of the team's trinity, tactical defending. Yet another groundbreaking FIFA evolution.
We figured, well, immediately if we can make you have as much fun in defense as you are in attack, we could double the enjoyment of the game. So that was kind of one of the motivations behind the feature.
Tactical defending changes the defensive approach, turning it from an action into a strategy, bringing real-world football skills into play.
The new defending system does not rely on you mindlessly holding down a button and throwing defenders up the pitch like homing missiles. It requires you to actually think and play the game more tactically, containing play, reading play, rather than always reacting. That's quite a difference.
Months of concept, design, data capture and refinement. And interactive football is now almost impossible to distinguish from the real thing. But the job isn't over. To operate to the max, the new gameplay innovations must communicate. So it's back to software guru Dominic Bouchard
So all those animations get put into a big database and they get added context to them. So this is a pass or a shot. This should happen when he's jogging or running, if the ball's coming in this way or this way. So we have a big database with lots of context. And then it's up to us to do all the other layers until that point to choose the correct animation.
And with just weeks to go, Dominic is fighting the clock.
We're definitely right till the end. I'm going. It's definitely a busy time finally in the game, which is what we're doing right now. But it's also a very intensive time to try to fix things without breaking other things, which is one of the challenging parts.
But the database isn't yet complete.
Hi there, it's Martin Tyler for you, along with Alan Smith, looking forward to what should be a really exciting match.
The new player impact engine, tactical defending and precision dribbling may bestow the ultimate gaming pleasure on the user. But for audio director Jeff McPherson, it brings a whole lot of pain.
The commentary aspect of our game it's huge. It's probably the biggest aspect.
A little bit casual, and they don't get the result. Well, the players know.
Like its real-world counterpart, every action on the virtual football field has an infinite number of outcomes.
Players coming into the middle, anticipating a cross now.
And Jeff has to foresee and record every eventuality.
By some distance in the end.
I think, in a way, doing the real thing is easier because you're reacting to what's actually happening, so you're not required to invent and imagine quite so much.
You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you can predict what you think is going to happen after specific events, but in reality, you've got millions and millions of users around the world playing this game, doing all sorts of different things, and eventually every possible situation is going to happen.
To produce the content needed to cover this unpredictability, he turns to pro football commentators Martin Tyler and Alan Smith.
It's been a fascinating process, challenging, I've got to say. I was made aware of how kind of intense it would be at the start, but until you experience it, you don't really know. You're in there for 4 or 5 hours and you're doing a lot of ad-libbing and trying to give it variety and keeping it fresh and realistic. Kind of from a mental aspect, it's like no other thing I've done.
Well, they've got the ball there and they want to restart the game. You can understand that with the throw. On it goes.
It takes a vast amount of data.
It's a tremendous undertaking. In perspective, this year for English, we recorded over 10,000 lines this year alone.
We've been told that there's 24 hours solid of us talking to you and to each other. Yeah.
Once this commentary is added to the database, the game takes over.
Hi there, it's Martin Tyler for you, along with Alan Smith, looking forward to what should be a really exciting match.
I think so, 2 evenly matched teams.
So you can imagine these 10,000 bits or 30,000 bits of speech in a large bucket just trying to play. They're kind of bubbling around, and at any given point in time, a certain amount of these are going to be true. Quite a few will be true, actually. And what they do is compete with each other to be the one that plays back. So eventually one gets chosen based on priority, based on the situation, based on the context.
Well, the technique didn't pay off for him. Well, I've seen him convert so many times with that tactic, but not today.
Great ball, and it's a heading chance now.
Jeff's job doesn't end with the massive complications of commentary. He also has to please the crowds.
Against Mainz.
The chanting is, next to the commentary, the second largest part of our game. Clearly, for anybody who's a football fan around the world, the songs that they sing for their club are extremely important.
First job, recording each of the chants in a live stadium environment. Then, the censors step in.
A lot of these songs don't adhere to a family-rated game, so there's a lot of stuff that we can't actually put in the game due to, bad offensive language.
By the time this team of producers, engineers, animators, modelers and audio experts have finished, FIFA 12 is a mighty machine.
32 leagues are being featured, 570 clubs, almost 15,000 different players, 34 national leagues. And through interaction with the game, people develop their football knowledge.
It's so good that even the real teams get in on the action.
We know from some trainers and from some football academies that they're actually using the game in their training sessions and to talk around different tactics and possibilities.
I know players like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in Norway uses it before he's playing different teams, because we have all the teams that his team play against in our game, and he actually simulates what formation they play, what lineup he puts on.
Playing FIFA helps, first of all, players. They can see the game, they think about football. It gives me a stronger and an easier overview of the teams I'm playing against, because the ratings and the skills and the attributes you give the players, it's fantastic. And for me as a manager now, I could prepare a little bit.
I think for some of our players, watching their rivals up on a TV screen sometimes and playing against them on a TV screen can be more beneficial than you really think.
The deadline for the launch is fast approaching. It's time to put the FIFA 12 revolution to the test.
This is something I think we need to work on.
This stage is called finaling.
Which is where we are now, the fun time of fixing all of the problems we created whilst we were making all the cool stuff.
All three of my guys just back away, right?
It just takes forever to start going.
So there's a bug in on it already?
Yeah.
So we fixed it? Oh, in the air. I thought you just got the patch for that already.
No.
I think it's a good fix. I think we should get it in as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But before it hits the streets, FIFA 12 faces the most demanding player of all, the customer.
I'm confident in the game that we're making that people are going to like it, but you're never 100% sure. You never really know until you get it out, so there's always that apprehension. But I think that's any artist in the world is going to feel that way before presenting their material.
To make sure it hits the mark, a few fans get a sneak preview.
We bring consumers in to come and play our games months before the game is even released, just to get feedback on how the game is standing and how we can make it better for when it is actually released. We have in about 150 to 200 people come in during the testing cycle overall.
Testers are chosen from football fan clubs. Everyone is sworn to secrecy. It's a price worth paying to be ahead of the line. What they don't know is that they're being watched. To make sure the feedback is not swayed by their presence, Aaron and David watch the players' reactions from behind a two-way mirror.
Aaron's got a list of issues and things he needs to get to if something crops up today that is more important than some of those other things we would reprioritise. But I mean, I'm not, so far anyway, not really hearing anything that's
We're
making me
tweaking
worried.
and tuning and changing right up until the end as well. So if something comes up in the session that we haven't thought of or that we think maybe the way the game is tuned right now is too prevalent or not prevalent enough and we need to change something, we can react to that right up until the day we call it quits.
Yeah.
And the verdict?
I think that's the closest we can get. Yeah, this is definitely.
The result of years of development, 12 months of refinement, and the combined skills of some of the greatest minds in video gaming is finally unleashed. And once again, it takes the world by storm.
If you're sitting in this crowd, it's like watching a normal game now when you're playing on it. I mean, the players all look like each other, they play like each other, they do the same things they do on the pitch.
EA Sports FIFA 12 not only matched its predecessor's record, it slammed it. It's the biggest sports video game launch of the year, selling 3.2 million copies in less than 5 days. About as long as it takes for its creators to start moving on the next big thing.
We generally already have a list of ideas, things that we want to be building in the next year.
Day one looks like this. Day two, okay, what are we going to do next year?
In a way, that's the beauty of the sport is that it changes so much.
Whatever they have planned, there's no doubt it'll that'll be a winner.